This video is brought to you by Squarespace. From custom domains to beautiful websites using their easily customizable templates that you can have up and running in minutes, e-commerce, email and email marketing, SEO, analytics, and scheduling, Squarespace does it all and has done it for us for the last 6 years. If you are a small to mid-sized business in any industry, Squarespace is the place to go for all of your website needs. Hop over to www.squarespace.com/Hugh for a free trial. And if you like what you see and want to move forward, receive 10% off your first order by using the discount code Hugh at checkout. Thanks, Squarespace. Innovation comes from people who take joy in their work. W. Edwards Deming. Look at Leica's recently announced sub 400 gram, actually can fit in your pocket, 17 megapixel micro four thirds sensor equipped, leaf shutter equipped, tiny accessory hot shoe mounted flash equipped, optically stabilized, integrated, non-interchangeable, full frame field of view, shallowest depth of field equivalent, 24 to 75 millimeter f 3.4 to 5.6, zoom lens equipped, though still with the light gathering capability of that lens's actual f 1.7 to 2.8 maximum aperture, $1,600 Leica D-Lux 8, and say, holy a real Leica with all of that and that easy to use for only $1,600 new? Amazo. I understand. Then again, you may say instead, it's just a 33% more expensive, Leica Q-ified version of the no longer made 6-year-old technology anyway, Leica D-Lux 7. Or, along the same line, you might conclude that it's actually a 60% more expensive Leica Q-ified version of the also no longer made Panasonic Lumix LX100 Mark II, upon which the D-Lux 7 absolutely was built, from the identical Leica branded lens to the sensor and processor and manual of arms, even down to the rather nifty 1953 War of the Worlds flying saucer aesthetic automatic lens cap, also with the same 6-year-old technology, which in any event were far from state-of-the-art cameras, especially considering what was happening in the full-frame space at the time. I won't take particular exception to these last two categorizations either, because both are essentially correct as far as they go. Even if, yes, the D-Lux 8 now sports an OLED viewfinder instead of the LCD finder of the 7. Definitely nicer, though still nothing to write home about. A higher resolution rear panel, though still non-articulating. A single, as before, UHS 2 card slot, definitely an improvement. RAW files, also an improvement, although only 12 bits. And transfer of those RAW files and video via the Leica Photos app. All of which are nice to haves. The big deal, however, is that the D-Lux 8 now sports the menu system and manual of arms of the latest $6,000 Leica Q3. We own a Q3 and we love it. And this is what makes manifest the notion that the D-Lux 8 really is a mini Q. Kind of. But I will say that if any one of these three categorizations is all that you think or feel about the D-Lux 8, you just may be missing the forest for the trees. Because while what Leica has done with the D-Lux 8 does indeed defy conventional wisdom for those of us who closely follow all things photographic, it just might be the case that, especially at a moment when Pentax, for example, can introduce a $500 35mm half-frame film camera to rave reviews by all accounts, the same moment, by the way, that Kodak's $100 16-megapixel, smaller than half-inch sensor-equipped 5.1mm to 25.5mm f 3.9 to 6.3 integrated zoom lens equipped, that is the full-frame equivalent field of view shallowest depth of field of a 28 to 140mm f 19.5 to f 31.5. Yeah, you heard that right. FZ55 is sold out in Japan. And now that I think about it, I still have the ever so slightly larger than half-inch sensor-equipped tiny 10-megapixel Canon S90 I bought new back in 2009. Leica has managed to do something utterly brilliant by going against conventional wisdom to offer a premium point-and-shoot. Speculators need not apply, because the actual results can be spectacular. The effort to achieve those results, no more difficult, yet more satisfying than any smartphone. Hold that thought. Although, I'll add this. I think the D-Lux 8 is a fascinating example of Deming's point. I do not know of a camera manufacturer other than Leica that so clearly understands how central joy is to the process of photography, and turning conventional wisdom on its head, has innovated in such a way that it can afford to bring the kind of joy for which the company is known to such a relatively new and broad audience at such a relatively accessible price. Not that I'm biased or anything. Hey everybody, I'm Hugh Brownstone for Three Blind Men and an Elephant. And as soon as I heard about the D-Lux 8, I was of two minds myself. One, it is clearly Leica's version of Panasonic's Lumix LX100 II, a camera I did a quick take on 5 years ago, and about which I said, literally, right in the headline, that it had the best compact ergos since the Leica Q. Okay, fine. I posed it as a question in the title, but I answered my own question affirmatively in the body of the video. But I also said that other cameras had better autofocus, more megapixels, better EVF, better rear panel, better optics. You get the idea. And the distance from then until now, from the perspective of the technology and the competition making fullest use of that technology, has been immense. The latest Micro Four Thirds sensor in Panasonic's G9 II and GH7, for example, is 25.6 megapixels and offers excellent hybrid phase detection autofocus. And both cameras sport a new processor to maximize the utility of that sensor, never mind all of the video that the D-Lux 8, even now today, could do. Never mind the 40 megapixel APS-C sensor now found in cameras as small and keenly priced as Fujifilm's $1,400 body-only X-T50, although it's $1,800 to include their new and excellent 16 to 50 millimeter f2.8 to 4.8, the full-frame field of view shallowest depth of field equivalent of a 24 to 75 millimeter f4.2 to 7.2, or their $1,600 rangefinder style 23mm f2 full frame equivalent 35 f3, call it, fixed lens X100-6, let alone everything that has happened in the full frame and medium format space, including a more than you might think is competitive sub $1,500, sub 500 gram full frame 24 megapixel hybrid phase detection autofocus equipped mirrorless interchangeable lens Lumix S9 from Panasonic. Look closely at these two cameras. 2. On the other hand, I did wonder immediately if I were able to put aside what I want in a camera and think about people not precisely like me when it comes to image quality, use cases, budget. Again, you get the idea. If this might not be close to a perfect dedicated camera in the real world, where most photographs are consumed on smartphones with just about 8 square inches of screen real estate, almost no one prints. A time when experience counts for more than technical image quality. That is the experience of shooting. And girls just want to have fun. Please do accept this as a non-gender specific reference to the kind of carefree, non-technical joie de vivre of Cyndi Lauper's eponymous hit single. You don't need that reference to recognize how old I am. I wondered if perhaps this D-Lux 8 might be the perfect dedicated camera for people looking to move beyond smartphones who wouldn't stand for the unremitting complexity of almost all of today's dedicated cameras, yet would tolerate the much better Leica menu and ergonomics for the Leica experience and be happy. I even wondered if the D-Lux 8 might appeal to hardcore Leica shooters looking for something better than smartphones when they didn't want to schlep an SL3, SL2, original SL, futz with any M, cough up the 6K for and accept the limitations of a Q3, some of whom might even want to print, for sake, not wall-sized murals, but instead maybe 8.5 by 11, possibly as large as 17 by 22. Could, in other words, Leica deliver a sub 400 gram, sub $2,000, integrated zoom Leica Q, really, that people would use and adore, a camera which in a shocking twist might actually be closer in spirit and intent to the original Leica of 1925 than anything that had come since, and deliver even better image quality than any film M? In a word, well, depending upon one's definition of better, yes. Look, I'm not going to tell you I didn't pixel peep up to 1600% magnification on these bad boys behind me, that I didn't compare the D-Lux 8 to our own 61 megapixel full frame Q3 and SL3s, even the 40 megapixel APS-C Fujifilm X-T50 we happen to have on hand in my own iPhone 14 Pro. Because I did. What did you expect? And if you're asking me if I could see the difference among them, of course I could. I could distinguish between sensors or among sensors and lenses. But here's the thing. Did I even begin to think about those differences after making these two prints from raw file capture on the D-Lux 8 on the streets of New York? I mean, really, images like this? Absolutely not. I just love them. Which is not to say there aren't other ways of getting to the same place, other ways of getting to a better place, once again, depending on how you define better, although none that I can think of quite as easy or enjoyable in the process. And I do have to say, the autofocus, contrast detection only, that hasn't changed, was unexpectedly faster and better than I remember the LX100 Mark II's autofocus being, while that little on-camera flash was a doddle to use, making me wish, Leica, please do something like that for the Q&M series. Which, speaking about the D-Lux 8 again, will, due to its leaf shutter, now sync up to 1/4000th of a second. Mario Testino's Contax T2 green with envy. That's really all I wanted to share with you today. Essentially a hot take on a camera that, as I said at the beginning, conventional thinking might lead one to dismiss entirely, yet here I am telling you it just might sell like hotcakes. But I could be wrong. Wouldn't be the first time. Absolutely won't be the last. And I am clearly very biased. I have never made any pretensions to anything else toward Leica gear, the Leica company, and the people of Leica. Although this video was not sponsored by Leica, I didn't get to keep the camera, blah, 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 you ought to know me by now. But if you don't know me and want to know why I am biased, beyond the cameras and lenses themselves, watch either the short film I did on my own photographic origin story called We Knew Hilda, commissioned by Wissenschaftliche Bibliothek der Stadt Trier, 2021 Jüdisches Leben in Deutschland, and the Bundesministerium des Innern für Bau und Heimat for their retrospective exhibition on Bauhaus-trained photographer Hilda Hubbeck back in the fall of 2021. Or find my 4-part video series on the original Leica SL. I had so much fun with that. Find any of my conversations with Leica executives over the years. Or, yeah, why not? Sign up for one of our street photography workshops coming up this fall in New York, Paris, Berlin, or Tokyo while there are still seats available. I'll put links to all of this stuff down in the show notes below and somewhere up here if I remember. It is as simple as this. The idea of taking half a decade old, now relatively inexpensive set of technologies, tweaking them just a bit, tweaking substantially the menu system and manual of arms from other cameras in their lineup. In sum total, bringing the experience of using those technologies up to date and among the very best in the business today in a far smaller, lighter, and dramatically less expensive package than would otherwise be possible from the greatest brand in photographic history, bar none? Well, yeah, I think it is brilliant. What it doesn't offer paling in comparison to what it does, which will be, for the most fortunate among us, to engage, inspire, maybe even rekindle one's sense of joy. And quite possibly, clearly with intent, to serve as the new gateway drug for a new generation to Leica. And again, that's just me. Your mileage may vary. And as always, that's just fine. This video is brought to you by Squarespace. From custom domains to beautiful websites using their easily customizable templates that you can have up and running in minutes, e-commerce, email and email marketing, SEO, analytics, and scheduling, Squarespace does it all and has done it for us for the last 6 years. If you are a small to mid-sized business in any industry, Squarespace is the place to go for all of your website needs. Hop over to www.squarespace.com/Hugh for a free trial. And if you like what you see and want to move forward, receive 10% off your first order by using the discount code Hugh at checkout. Thanks, Squarespace. If you like what you've seen here today, please give a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, join the conversation in the comments section below because this is an exceptional audience. If you'd like help with a portfolio review, gear selection, finding or honing your artistic voice, sign up for a one-on-one mentoring video call via Zoom at 3bmep.com/booking. Finally, please consider supporting our work by using the no-cost to you affiliate links down below, sending us coffee money via PayPal, or most especially, joining us on Patreon, links down below as well. However you choose to support us, as always, we thank you for it.